Okay. The executive closed-door session of the City Commission is now terminated, and the public meeting is now reopened, and we are now concluded. We return at 6 o'clock for the evening meeting. Thank you. or events that are important to our community. And like I said, tonight we have two of them. So why don't we begin by my inviting, is Savannah McCall here? Where's Savannah? There you are. Why don't you come up here and join me at the podium, and we will together do the Pledge of Allegiance. So if I can please ask everybody to stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Savannah, what grade are you?
I am in the 4th grade.
Where do you go to school?
Gateway Christian Academy, Fort Lauderdale.
Wonderful. Are you in a swim team?
Yes.
You are in a swim team. Well, congratulations. I have a little something for you, thanking you for tonight's presentation.
Thank
So
you.
thank you.
I was going to ask, were you all going to take a picture? Did you take a picture? Okay. I didn't realize it was from District 3. Can we come back down and take a picture? Okay. Mayor, I'm sorry. We're going to exercise against you from District 3. You know I love you to take pictures.
Oh, sorry, sure. That's it. Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, Savannah. And if you'd all please join me in a moment of silence, and in particular, we want to share in remembrance of two people in our community who've really been lifelong partners in the growth of our community and our neighborhoods, Eric Berkowitz and George Young. Thank you. Okay, thank you so much. Mr. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Herbst? Present. Commissioner Glassman?
Here.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Here.
Commissioner Sturman?
Here.
Mayor Trentalis?
Here. We have complete attendance tonight. A couple of agenda announcements. CM2 has been removed at the request of the City Attorney's Office. And CM1, the Alda family picnic event was removed from the agenda item, so the other half of the agenda item will remain. And CR1, the CAM was revised to correct Lauderdale Isle Civic Improvement Association's president's name. So, with those changes, do I hear a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
Moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and the agenda is now approved. So, we have our first presentation, which I have the honor of presenting, and I'd like to ask our Chief Procurement Officer, Glenn Marcos, if he can join me at the podium. Is he here? Oh, there he is.
She's trying to address me.
Okay, so from the office of the mayor of the city of Fort Lauderdale, it's my honor to present this proclamation in recognition of National Procurement Month, which is your life. It's not a month. Every day, right?
24/7.
So this March, we celebrate National Procurement Month and the dedicated professionals who safeguard billions of dollars in goods and services that are obtained fairly and competitively for local, state, and federal agencies. Their expertise strengthens our communities and fuels the economy by securing the best value for taxpayers. Whereas public procurement professionals are stewards of taxpayer dollars, their expertise in efficiency, ethics, and strategic sourcing maximizes the value of every dollar spent. Whereas the procurement division has made a significant economic impact on the city, county, and tri-county area for the past 5 fiscal years and processed over $2 billion in awarded procurements for the city of Fort Lauderdale while upholding the values of transparency. We go through a lot of money.
A lot of projects.
Whereas the Procurement Services Division prioritizes ethical and responsible practices by adhering to the values and guiding principles of public procurement. These principles include accountability, ethics, impartiality, professionalism, service, and transparency. The division leverages these principles to deliver significant value to the organization through effective contract management, strategic procurement planning, fostering strong relationships with suppliers, and collaborating with both city departments and industry experts. Finally, the Procurement Services Division adheres to generally accepted public procurement standards and best practices through its membership in the National Institute of Government Purchasing, the Florida Association of Public Procurement Officials, and the Southeast Florida chapter of NIGP, and has been recognized throughout the years by its peers and organizations such as the National Purchase Institute for Excellence, Innovation, Professionalism, Productivity, and Leadership. Now, therefore, we, the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, do hereby proclaim this March 2024 as National Procurement Month in the City of Fort Lauderdale, dated this March 19th, 2024, signed by myself, Mayor Dean Trentalis. Let's hear it for procurement. You have a few words to procure for us?
Yeah, a couple of words. I just want to go ahead and take this opportunity to thank you, Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager Greg Chavarria, ACMs Susan Grant, Anthony Fajardo, and our Director, Linda Short, for your all unwavering support. I want to also reiterate, because I think it's important, what a significant role we play within South Florida. Like you mentioned, Mayor, you're looking at $1.25 billion since last fiscal year. I mean, that's $1.25 billion we have poured into our projects within our community. I mean, and if you look, an important infrastructure, right? Well-deserved for our neighbors. And you're looking at $1.25 billion, that's more than the combined last 6 fiscal years. So, and we do it with this team right here, this incredible team that I have in front of me. So I want to take this opportunity to introduce each and every one of them. Yep. So they incorporate best practices, integrity, accountability, ethics, transparency, fairness, and professionalism to each and every procurement. Starting off with David Clemente, if you can come up. John Karenga, Michelle Lumeyer, Stefan Mohammed, Lori Platkin, Heather Rose, Kirk McDonald, Eric Martinez, Paulette Turner, Shamori Aldridge. Newest members, Dylan Kennedy and Yesenia Pascual. Not here, James Hemphill, Marie Flynn, and Matthew Eaton. Their efforts, productivity, and work product can be seen every Tuesday as part of your agenda. So once again, I want to go ahead and thank you all. Let's squeeze in.
Squeeze in as close as you can. I'm going to try and get everybody in.
I'm going to be in the short.
Yes.
We can fit you two. Can you get over here? I can fit you right there.
Takes a village.
Trying to get you right in between the TVs right here. Yeah, one more. All right. Let's see if we can get you all in there.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mayor. And just one more thing. We are FTL.
Thank you so much, Glenn, and your staff. Thank you. Our next presentation is going to be presented by Luisa Agathon from a neighborhood support, who's our neighborhood support manager, and she's going to talk about the neighborhood support night sponsors and recognizing them.
All right.
Luisa.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commission. I'm happy to be here today. Neighbor Support Night, as you all know, took place on February 15th, and we were able to transform the City Hall parking garage. We would like to thank everyone who attended, the Commission's support for being there, and then for staff for showcasing what we do day to day within our different offices, and then also to highlight the big projects that we have going on throughout the city. The success of Neighbor Support Night could not be possible with the sponsors and local businesses that help us in donating prizes that were raffle, vacation stays, food giveaways, food certificates, and many of the great venues that we have here throughout the city. So I would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge each of those sponsors who contributed to this year's event. As I call your name, if you could please come to the podium and remain standing here to accept your certificate. All right. From Zona Fresca, Sarah Freemeyer. Over here. All right. From Bahia Mar, Lisa Namur. Fogo de Chao, Kelsey Stewart. From our Fort Lauderdale Executive Airport, Carlton Harrison. All right. Oops. Bill Feinberg from Allied Kitchen Bath, if he's here. I didn't see him.
Is Bill here? No.
We also have Nick Oro from Jet's Pizza. Linda Tran could not be with us with the MODS, the Museum of Discovery and Science. We also have Mike Fleming from Courtyard Fort Lauderdale Beach. Thank you. Hold on. Give me a second. There we go. Thank you. And then also want to thank Riverside Hotel and Las Olas, Broward Performing Arts for their support. We also had Ashbred that helped us with some donation, and Sonesta Fort Lauderdale Beach. I also want to thank our partner through the event, the Council of Civic Associations. They're there with us from the start of Neighbor Support Night. And then also to the Neighbor Support staff. I always say that we're small and mighty because we're able to transform and really put a great event for the city. So thank you to staff for making that happen. Thank you all.
Very good. Great. Thank you so much.
Let me get a photo of everybody. We're tall.
No one signed up to speak tonight.
There you go. You can stand in the front. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. So now we move on to the regular agenda, and we begin with our consent agenda items. At this time, I would ask any member of the commission if they would like to pull a consent agenda item. If the agenda item is pulled, we will discuss it and vote on that separately. Otherwise, we will vote on all the rest of the consent agenda items in one vote. So let us begin with, as soon as I find my pad, excuse me, John. I guess they took my pad. Oh, here it is. Do you have any consent agenda items that you'd like to pull? I do not. None. Pamela Beasley Pittman?
None.
Commissioner Glassman?
CR3.
CR3, okay. And Commissioner Sturman?
The same one, CR3.
Okay. Okay, and like I said, no one else is asked to speak, so except for CR3, do I hear a motion to approve the rest of the consent agenda items?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Commissioner Herbst? Yes. Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and all those consent agenda items are now approved. So if you're here on any of those items, you're welcome to continue to stay in the meeting. Otherwise, your item has been approved. So moving on to CR3, I guess Commissioner Glassman?
Yes. Thank you, Mayor. If I could have Ben come to the podium, that'd be great.
So this is regarding the interlocal agreement between Broward County and our city for community shuttle service.
Yes, thank you. So, Ben, I know that I've been hearing in my meetings and also emails, I just want to make sure you've been getting all the emails, but can you tell us if we are going to be able to fulfill the requests of the folks that we've been hearing from? Number one, Las Olas Link does not provide a stop near the Broward Center for the Performing Arts and the Museum of Discovery and Science. Could we look at additional stops, one on Southwest 2nd Street near Esplanade Park, and one on East Las Olas Boulevard at Huizinga Park? I've also had comments about the type of vehicles. I don't know if that's a possibility. Also, in terms of the routes, there are 6 stops on the shuttles, but really none in and around the downtown, maybe around Southeast 3rd Avenue and Las Olas. Also, in addition to that, a possible drop-off and pickup near Las Olas Oceanside Park. It could accommodate the residents that look, to walk south to the Aquatic Center, and also classes and activities at the Las Olas Oceanside Park, and also that park near the Las Olas Beach Garage. I know we used to have a shuttle there. Also, perhaps some sort of south route at the beach, going south on Seabreeze, passing by the Aquatic Center, Swimming Hall of Fame, and then heading back north. Ideally, again, it would be a daily, not just 3 days. And then also, if we could look at somehow maybe some early morning or hours. That's what I've heard from emails, and also, I'm sorry, there was one other person that did contact me, and saying that there's a 2+ mile gap between services, George English Park, in and around there, and also around Bayview. And she says that there's nothing on A1A or Bayview to connect these routes, so that she's finding herself having, if she's going from Oakland Park Boulevard to George English Park, Holiday Park, there's just too much of a gap in between service there. Those are the comments that I've been receiving.
All right, so I'm going to try to remember all that. I think the first one I can address is the vehicle type. So the vehicles that we use, we lease from the county for $10 a year. If we would look at a different vehicle type, we would have to come out of pocket and purchase a vehicle. You're looking at $400,000+ for the vehicle. So that's why a couple years ago we made a decision to use the vehicles that the county provide. As for the existing routes, I think there's some confusion out there about where the service actually stops. Some of our maps and information on there has key points along the routes, so that way for the timetables, it's easier to read and follow, but there are more stops that occur on those routes. So right now what we're doing is we're working on a branding plan, and we're going to be providing more information to the public on all of the stops along the route. Many of the points that you identified actually do have stops, but if it's on an existing route, we are going to clarify that in the coming weeks. For areas that aren't on an existing route at this point, we have to apply through Broward County Transit to see if we can receive surtax funding for that. That application process is once per year. To comment about adding service days or hours, we submitted that last year, and we're still waiting for that feedback or that approval to be able to do so. So there's a lot of process for this, but I'm happy to say that most of the feedback you received, that we either have a plan or are actively working on. In addition to that, I think data is king. And so as we look to leverage more surtax funding from the county, we released a survey recently. We've been promoting it with strategic communications, and we're trying to get more feedback from the community so that way we can make a case to do some of these business decisions and have funding behind those decisions.
Okay. So have you been getting, I guess I'm looking to see if you've been on the distribution list. Yes, so you've been getting some of these emails as well. You probably just didn't get, and I'll make sure that Erica sends it to you, the one that talks about the 2-mile gap on services, nothing on A1A, Bayview to connect them when she's trying to go from Oakland Park Boulevard, George English Park, and Holiday Park. And she's saying that there's just a gap that she gets off and then she's stuck for 2 miles. Does that make any sense to you?
Yeah, and like I said, we'll take that back and we'll look at where all our stops are to make sure there's not something that she's just not aware of. And then if there's not, we'll look into it with staff from a local lens, and then submit an application to the county if it's something that's feasible.
Okay, great. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Mayor.
Commissioner Sturman?
I got an email. I think I'm guessing that I got the same email that Steve has, because a lot of the things that were in it were identical. I don't think she's here, but is Melinda from Downtown Civic Association here? She didn't think she'd be able to make it, or anybody from the Downtown Civic Association. Okay, I'll just summarize what she sent to me, but I think you've covered it already. Her concerns were a few. Number one, the stops, if there was stops like Commissioner Glassman said on 3rd and Andrews, but you've already mentioned that. Having on the beach, and also that loop south once you get to the beach by iShop, and you've talked about all of those things. So the other question, I'm looking, you can't put up a map so the audience could see where they go. It's in our backup, but you don't have anything readily available to display, or do you, or not?
I don't, but our website actually has them in real time, and it actually has trackers on the vehicles so you can see where the vehicles are at.
Okay, and I know there was a cost and a no cost, and the cost for ridership is no cost, right?
That's correct. It's free to ride, and the city's reimbursed by Broward County through surtax.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. You've covered everything, all the questions I had already. Thank you very much, Ben.
So I think your requests are certainly valid, but keep in mind that this program just started out recently. It was first started out as a test, sort of like a just to see whether or not people would be interested in taking circuit, and little by little, I believe the map will increase as we're able to get funding, but we're not going to, we can't really accommodate every single area of the city just yet. I think that funding is, but I think it's good to keep the conversation going. So I don't want people to be disappointed into thinking that the city's not interested in covering your particular neighborhood or your particular need. But right now we're sort of in a test pattern still as we try to figure out where the best and the most appropriate routes are. So the fact that we're keeping it at no cost or low cost is really wonderful. It's a wonderful service for our neighbors as well as our visitors. So thanks again for all your work, Ben. Okay, someone like to introduce the
So moved. Introduce.
Which item was that again?
Oh, it's a resolution, CR3.
CR3.
CR3, so it's a resolution.
So moved.
The The resolution's been introduced. Please call the roll.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, approving the Fourth Amendment to the interlocal agreement with Broward County for community shuttle service and authorizing city manager to execute the Fourth Amendment to the interlocal agreement to replace Exhibit A regarding revised route schedules, to amend Exhibit D to add an additional lease vehicle, to replace Exhibit F to establish operating funding for fiscal year 2024 to include reimbursement to the City of Fort Lauderdale for operating costs incurred from January 1, 2022 through September 30, 2023, and to add provisions regarding prohibited telecommunications equipment and criminal history screening practice, providing for conflicts and providing for an effective date. Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Commissioner Herbst? Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and the resolution is approved. Moving on to M1. This is a motion approving event agreements and related road closures for the Heal the Planet Day, Vegan Block Party, and Nobi Sunday Block Party. Someone like to introduce the motion?
Introduced.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any questions? Please call the roll.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and M1's approved. M2, a motion approving an agreement for landscape and pressure washing services for all city parking lots and garages with SFM Landscape Services. Someone like to move the item?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and
Second. I did have a comment on it, though,
Please
Mayor,
go
if
ahead.
possible.
Please go ahead.
Thanks. So, Greg, I guess this would be for you, but this came up also at my district pre-agenda meeting last night. So this agenda item, does this also include the area in and around the Las Olas garage? The reason I'm asking is, and we all know that there's a lot of construction going on there. That's a huge project. But some of the neighbors are getting a little concerned about the conditions of landscaping, conditions of roadways around the garage. I've had this conversation with Suntex representatives already, but I just, for the record, want to make sure that we're on top of this. I didn't know, was this going to include here landscape replacement? Is that going to be the responsibility of Suntex, or are we actually going to take that as part of this agenda item? Again, all in and around Birch, in and around the Las Olas garage, around where the new marina is being constructed.
So, Commissioner, to answer your question, Suntex will be doing most of the restoration, and I understand the impacts over the last couple of weeks have been pretty impactful, right, with spring break, and then also the marina was doing a switch over on the power with FPL, which had a lot of lane closures and a lot of impacts to the residents. That was completed on Friday, and so that was a major hurdle for that project. But they will be doing restoration, they will be doing road work, they will be cleaning up the area to say in the near term. The project has got only a couple months left, and so we work closely with Suntex. I work with them probably 2 or 3 times a week. I know that you're very closely aligned with understanding what's going on in their project. But to answer your question related to this agreement, yes, this is a master agreement that allows the parking department to utilize it for what services are needed. So in this case, if we needed to power wash the Las Olas garage or the surrounding area, if we needed to replace landscaping like we recently did on the rooftop of the garage, we could use this contract to do so and not have to bid it out every time.
Okay, so then perhaps you might be using this to work in conjunction with Suntex if there's any gaps or any problems, or if we're just not seeing that area is fully restored to what we expect it to be?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. So the items have been moved and seconded. So please call the roll.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and M2 is approved. Now moving on to M3. It's a motion approving a construction agreement for commercial boulevard parking improvements, again with Sagaris Corp. No one signed up to speak, so would someone like to move the item?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and M3 is now approved. Moving on to resolutions, we begin with our appointment of board and committee members. Mr. Clerk, would you please announce the names into the record?
Okay, so prior to reading the names for tonight and for April 2nd, coming up is also some appointments for the commission with regards to the Broward League of Cities. Their deadline is April 11th, so we can put an item on at the next meeting. The terms to begin May 4th, 2024, and currently Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman is the current director, and the alternate is Mayor Trentalis.
Sounds good to me. Do you accept the honor?
Oh, yes.
Okay,
sorry,
stay.
yes.
Okay,
Do we vote on that?
we'll vote on it at the next meeting.
So, when is the next National League of Cities conference? Do you know?
There's one in November.
In the fall, yes.
In the fall.
Okay.
And then there's some ones in between.
In between, right.
Right.
Okay.
But the next national one is in November.
Okay.
So while we're on that same topic, we just did Broward League. For Florida League, the annual conference is August 15th to the 17th at the Diplomat in Hollywood, and the current director is Mayor Trentalis.
That's the Florida League.
Florida League, correct.
That's the Florida. When is that now?
August 15th to the 17th.
Okay.
Do you want to stay on for this coming year? Or?
You know, this may not be a good time.
You're doing a great job.
Yeah.
You really are. Great
Okay.
job.
Do I have an alternate?
No.
No.
Okay. All right. We'll figure it out.
Beautiful job.
Okay, and then the last one is National League, which is currently the voting delegate is Commissioner Herbst, and the alternate is Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman.
Okay. That's the one that's in November.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still accepting those roles, John?
I guess so.
So I hear status
Speak
quo.
now
for-
or forever hold your peace.
Okay. All right, so I'll go for the April 2nd resolution. Fred Stressow, he's a reinstatement for Board of Adjustment, nominated by Commissioner Sturman. Central City Redevelopment Advisory Board, Bobby Tinico, that's nominated by Commissioner Glassman. And for tonight's resolution, Aviation Advisory Board, William Gilbert, nominated by Commissioner Sturman. Infrastructure Task Force Advisory Committee, Gregory Bennett, nominated by Commissioner Glassman. And Public Art and Placement Advisory Board, Elizabeth Wenberg, nominated by Mayor Trentalis. And that rounds it out for this evening.
Okay. Any additions or modifications? There being none, someone like to introduce the resolution?
So moved.
It's been introduced. Please call the roll.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, appointing or nominating, if applicable, board and committee members as set forth in the exhibit attached here to and made a part hereof. Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Commissioner Herbst? Yes. Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and thank you to those board members or committee members who have now agreed to be part of them. We thank you for your commitment to your community. R2, this is a resolution approving acceptance of grant funds in the amount of $704,836 from the Florida Department of Education. Any questions with regard to this? There being none, would someone like to introduce the resolution?
Introduced.
It's been introduced. Please call the roll.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, approving the acceptance of grant funds in the amount of $704,836 from the Florida Department of Education, delegating to the city manager the authority to execute any documents necessary to accept the grant funds and implement an education enrichment program and providing for severability and an effective date. Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Commissioner Herbst? Yes. Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and that resolution is now approved. R3, a resolution delegating authority to the city manager to submit a grant application to the Florida Inland Navigation District, the Waterway Assistance Program, for the Riverwalk North seawall replacement from Andrews Avenue to the railroad tracks. Someone like to introduce the resolution?
Introduced.
Any questions?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Quick thing. It says D2. I believe it's D4.
No,
I think it's D2.
it's D2. Well,
yours is-
wait a minute. Andrews? No? I
No,
don't-
yours is west of the
When
tracks.
does Sailboat Bend begin?
Where does it
Sailboat is
begin?
west of the tracks.
Yeah,
This
is
is
that
east of the
Andrews?
tracks.
Right.
Yeah.
This is should say D4. This is from Andrews
To the
the
track.
FEC railway, and on the north side of the Riverwalk. So that is correct.
D4, D2.
Does
It's D4.
this have any of the area by Esplanade or the Riverwalk down there?
No, it stops at the
It stops at the tracks.
tracks. Boy, Steve, you said it with such authority, you convinced me I was wrong.
It did.
It's just there for reference. It's not part of the resolution.
That's because Gina's been bugging me left and right about this forever, so I just assumed it was District 2.
But it's D4.
For like 2 years.
But it is D4, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought, yeah.
So has someone introduced the resolution yet?
Yes.
Okay. So please
you
call
did,
the
right?
roll.
Yes.
Please
What's
call the
D4?
roll.
I'd like to introduce. No, that's
Too
fine.
late.
That's fine.
Please introduce please call the roll.
Yes.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, delegating authority to the city manager to execute a project grant application with the Florida Inland Navigation District in the amount of $3 million, and further delegating to the city manager the authority to execute any other documents or instruments necessary or incidental to the administration of Riverwalk North Seawall replacement from Andrews Avenue to the FEC train track project. Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and R3 is now approved. Moving on to R4, this is a quasi-judicial resolution approving Bal Harbor Village plat. This is at 2201 Northeast 19th Street. Anyone wishing to speak must be sworn in, and the commission will announce any site visits, communications, or expert opinions received and make them a part of the record. Commissioner Herbst, do you have any disclosures?
I met with Cabot Edward, who is the property owner.
Okay. Vice Mayor?
No, none.
I have none that I can recall. Commissioner Glassman?
None.
And Commissioner Sturman?
None.
Okay. So a number of people have signed up to speak on this. Is there a presentation that wants to be made here by the applicant? Is there a representative here? Hi. Wait. Push the button at the bottom of the mic.
There you go.
Great.
Hi. Mayor, Commissioners, my name is Elizabeth Surukdisian. On behalf of Police Land Surveyors, we created the plat, and we're here representing the owner. I don't know if he's here. I hope he is. If he's not, then I'll be happy to answer questions. Basically, we are taking this property which used to be a place of worship, and it's kind of an L-shaped property, and this side is RS 8 zoned, and this little baby piece is B1, and we are subdividing the property into 7 single-family homes and 1 being a commercial business zoned. We called it office, and it's up to, we don't have any plans.
So you're the architectural firm?
We are the surveying.
The surveyors?
Yes,
okay.
sir.
All right. Well, all right. So why don't you have a seat, and if we have any questions, we'll call you up, all right?
Thank you so much.
Okay. So there's no one else here on behalf of the applicant, but I do know there are a number of citizens here who want to speak on with regard to it. So since there's no presentation, why don't we, do you have any comments you would like to make first, John? Or
Actually, I'd like to listen to the residents, please.
Okay. So there are a few people who signed up to speak. I have some concerns about this as well, so we'll get to that after we hear from the public. I'll call your names three names at a time so you know when you're next. So, and come up to the podium, please. Give you a couple minutes each to speak. We'll start with Douglas Fulcher, Janet Anjuli, okay, and Kay Gilbert. Why don't you come on up here, one at a time? Douglas, Janet, and Kay. Hello there.
It's the first time meeting I've been to. The church is 2201. I'm 2200. I'm right across the street from the property. And I have no problems with the residential component of the plot. It's the commercial part, which is like 19,500 square feet.
That's the size of the lot.
Correct.
Not the size of the proposed building, right?
Correct.
There's no proposed building. It's just the size of the lot.
That's the size of the lot.
Right.
Me being across the street and having been to church since I've been there for
a long time,
I'm used to what you might could say that was a commercial building. It was in use a few days out of the week. Other than that, it was empty. They were a perfect perfect neighbor to have across the street. Because I went to the last meeting and I was asked by the commission, well, you have kind of a commercial building across the street. What could go commercial could make a big difference to whether it's a good neighbor or not so swift neighbor. But I wonder how this is going to affect my property value, since we really don't know what's going to go into that piece of commercial property. It sits behind our gate. Anybody that comes into our neighborhood would not expect a commercial building to be back there. I'm one of the volunteers that keeps our gatehouse and gates going. And since I'm right at the gate, if I'm in the yard and someone has a problem, sometimes they're blowing the horn to get my attention. I'm surprised the number of people that are blowing their horn, they just haven't pulled up close enough to get the arm to go up. You know, so I question if this actually ends up being commercial, how it, to me, it's not being addressed how the ingress and egress out of this property is going to be handled in relation to our gate.
Okay. Good point. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
What is that?
I'm the short one. My name is Janet Ann Julie. I have lived in Bal Harbor for 33 years, and it's been the most wonderful neighborhood in the whole world. And our thought of somebody putting commercial property in the middle of a totally residential neighborhood is very unsettling to all of us. It's a very quiet neighborhood. We never have problems in there, and we think this is going to bring it to us. There are beautiful green areas in Coral Ridge and behind Galleria at Sunrise Intracoastal, and huge big green areas in the area east of the Intracoastal and south of Oakland, gigantic green areas. We would love to have this as a green area for us, to have for our families, our kids and everything. We're not asking for anything special, just a green area. So, but no commercial property. There's so much commercial property on the market right now that is not, I mean, just totally vacant. There's nobody there. So the thought of bringing another one in, and the developer even suggested he could put in a 7-Eleven if he wanted to. That would just be outrageous. So please, please protect our neighborhood and help us out and keep it away from commercial property. Thank you.
Thank you. Kay, followed by Ann Steinhardt, followed by Virginia Holden. Oh, okay.
I'm Ann Steinhardt. Kay doesn't want to come.
She doesn't want to come? Okay.
Pardon me? Yeah. My feelings are we need the green space. We are such a close neighborhood, and I thought that's what Fort Lauderdale was supposed to be about. I thought that's what we were growing to be, as a community neighborhood. We're all active voters. We all pay attention to what's going on in the city. Let us have this green space so that we can get together as a neighborhood. If we don't, since the church is gone, they always gave us the space to have our little community neighborhood parties or to have a meeting. We won't have a place now. You put a commercial spot in there, it just doesn't lend to who we are. Just please try to remember that we are a neighborhood. We support all of you. Please support us.
All right, thank you. Virginia Holden.
Hi, Virginia Holden.
Followed by Laura Gazelbrock, followed by James Flavel.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm a Bal Harbor resident, native of Fort Lauderdale, Holy Cross. Anyway, we moved into Bal Harbor, purchased our house about 25 years ago. Great, quiet little neighborhood. We're sorry to see the church go because they were a great neighbor. Like Ann mentioned, we could hold functions there and enjoy some peace and quiet. Now with the development of these 7 homes, which we knew would be inevitable, there's that one parcel. It's roughly, I think, 100 by 200 feet. And zoning it as an office structure is just incompatible. From what I understand, that B1 zoning, they could go 10 stories. Is that correct? It doesn't work. It's inside the wall, behind the Whole Foods, and it's this tall building that could be overshadowing our neighborhood. And also, there are negotiations going on with the developer to purchase the property. So I'm wondering why we would approve a plat if there's still negotiation for green space. So we ask that you please consider our neighborhood.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you. Laura, followed by James, followed by Michael Hemway.
Mayor, Commissioners, I'm also a resident of Bal Harbor. I've been there 13 years. I love the neighborhood. It's a very friendly, quiet one, as my Neighbors have mentioned, I agree with everything that's been said so far. My biggest concern at this point is the traffic. We have a new Publix going in that's going to bring a lot of traffic. It's going to be very hard for us to get out of the neighborhood with the new Publix, and now we may have a commercial building. Oh my gosh, we'll never get out of our neighborhood or in our neighborhood. I feel like this is not the right place for a commercial property. A park would be a much better solution in this area. We need to be able to get in and out of our neighborhood in a reasonable amount of time. Already it's very crowded just with the Total Wine going in, quite a bit more traffic already. So that's the main point I wanted to make. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Where are they putting in that Publix?
Pardon me?
Where are they putting in that Publix?
It's right
Just
there at the
outside of our
entrance.
wall.
Right at the entrance where Panera Bread used to be. It's halfway finished.
Yeah, one of the entrance and exits from the Publix comes right into the road that allows us to get out to at 19th Street and Federal Highway.
So Publix is right by 19th.
It's
Right.
on 19th, yeah.
And 19th and Federal.
That's
Okay.
right where our road is to exit.
Laura, we're going to
IT?
put the map up so you can all see it.
IT staff, can you put Exhibit 1 and also prepare Exhibit 2 so we can present it on the screen, please?
James?
Hi, I'm James Flavel. I've been a Fort Lauderdale resident for 57 years and lived in Bal Harbor for 34.
Wow.
I'm also the singing Santa Claus who sung with you a couple times there, Mayor. And I did send in a photograph which may help if they have it. You could put that up. We have a unique neighborhood in Bal Harbor. In the late 90s, we put a guard house, a gatehouse that's been discussed at the entrance. You can see here the land in question, and that the church in the middle, sort of circular, semicircular type of building is the structure that's there now. To the right, going up through that parking lot, are where 7 75-foot homes, I believe, are happening. The land in question is to the left of the red line, over towards where it says relax the back. Now, if you look on the red line where 19th Street is, you'll see an automobile. And that automobile is to the right of our gatehouse, our guardhouse. We have, since that was put in it was a creative solution, one of the first of its kind in the city, we have security cameras there. We can take a license plate. We have had routinely the lowest crime rate in the city of Fort Lauderdale, other than along with Bay Colony, which is actually a private neighborhood. So it's been an extremely successful solution with a single entrance to our neighborhood. Now, up there, right above our gatehouse, is this land in question to the left of the red line. And for one, and it was sort of mentioned earlier, I'm concerned that if this becomes a commercial entity, what's going to happen to the security in our neighborhood and that gatehouse? But also, our neighborhood is extremely unique, 150 homes, low crime, because we had a unique security solution, which I think if this turns into a commercial entity, unless it's accessed through what is at the top, the Whole Foods parking lot, then the whole entrance to our neighborhood is really jeopardized, along with the quiet. And I'll tell you what happened before there was a gatehouse. People would come down 19th trying to go to the beach. They'd drive down every street. We'd have all kind of cars in that neighborhood until they ultimately found out they had to go back out to Federal Highway. So we're hoping, and by the way, I want to compliment the builder who's here, Cabot, Edouard, whose family's been here a long time as well, but you all helped him reduce this from 9 homes at 50 feet to 7 at 75. He's been accessible and willing to talk, and there's been discussions about turning the city buying this land and turning it into what they call a parkette, which has happened in other neighborhoods. And we're strongly behind that notion for the neighborhood, which let's make this little park. We've got a whole lot going on. The Publix at the lower left, and we're kind of under siege with a lot of commercial development. We're trying to maintain our, peaceful existence in this neighborhood, as well as our security. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Very good.
Could I ask you a question before you walk away?
Yes.
Is your guardhouse, is it between 22nd Terrace and Ave, or is it to the left of 22nd Avenue?
That's 21st, that's 22nd Avenue. It's to the left of 22nd.
So 22nd Avenue and Terrace are both on your side of the guardhouse?
Correct.
Okay, good.
Correct.
Yes. which creates the potential problem.
Well, the great thing is it allows only one entrance into the neighborhood. The bad thing is it only allows one exit through the neighborhood.
Right.
Right. So,
thank you.
You're welcome. Michael?
Thank you, Mayor and assembled members. I would disagree with you that it's not a good thing to have one exit. One of the reasons we have one of the lowest crime rates, if not the lowest crime rate for any public neighborhood in the city, is because of that one way in and one way out. There's never any congestion there. The homeowners association monitors and takes care of the cameras, and if there is a break-in, and there are from time to time, usually the perpetrators are caught because they can only go in and out through that one entrance. What I would like to say is, a lot of people have talked about this neighborhood being unique, and it is unique. It's also one of the older neighborhoods in the city. It was formed in 1956. I think Harry Mangurian lived, I think, in the house that I actually live in.
Who lived in it?
Mr. Mangurian of Coral Ridge Hospital and an iconic city of Fort Lauderdale member. I also am a lifetime resident and a longtime resident of the community in Bal Harbor. The Bal Harbor HOA, just let me touch on that for a second, is almost 100%. It is voluntary, and we have almost 100%, if not 100, membership. So everybody in the community is in that HOA. The community speaks as a whole. And even though there's a lot of people here, every single person in that community voted when this issue of the commercial property came up, and there was a strong, supermajority, 90+% of the owners in that community were in favor of pursuing this opportunity to have some sort of parquet there, as opposed to a potentially 10-story commercial building, a skinny 10-story that's out of character with the neighborhood, or a 7-Eleven or something like that. I was a little concerned at the FP.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry if I'm out of time.
Go ahead.
At the PZB meeting, because not every member had been out there, and they didn't really understand the configuration of the neighborhood and the one way in, one way out in the city. The entrance there. One of the things that I was concerned about is that the plat survey that was put up for approval doesn't reflect the guardhouse or the entrance island, which has been referenced by another speaker. And there were representations made at the P&Z meeting that the commercial lot is entirely west of the guardhouse, when in fact that is not true. That's not accurate. And you can see that from the aerial. I also have a photograph I could demonstrate for you, but the guardhouse is right here, and so it's not entirely west of it. And so that's an issue for us as a community. At the prior PZB meeting, there was some discussion with the city attorney about could the plat be amended to simply reflect that it would be a park.
Where did you say the guardhouse was?
The guardhouse is right here.
Yeah. Okay. So it sort of splits where the.
No, but there's an entrance. This is the project that was discussed earlier. With city approval, we obtained permission to build an ornamental plant structure with lighting that you drive up to, and that goes for another.
But the guardhouse is right along that white line, then, right?
That's right. The guardhouse itself with the list is here, but the guardhouse structure is larger than just a guardhouse.
Well, I
And
understand that.
It has a large swale that continues forward that forces the traffic into that area. So it's not entirely west of where the guardhouse is, because that relies on a definition of the guardhouse, which is not really what exists there today. And the construction that the HOA did by improving that area, adding landscaping and lighting to that area, is a big part of the appeal of that neighborhood. This was all done with city approval and permitting, and we spent a lot of money as an HOA to do that. So there was some conversation with the prior city attorney, with the city attorney at the PZB meeting. You know, can we change the plat? Can we just reflect that it be a park only? And that kind of got a little bit of traction, and then everyone jumped up and said, no, let's just pass it. It was not unanimous. There was one dissent. We've all heard good things about the developer. This isn't really a slight, but the last time that he spoke at the meeting that we were all at, the same contingent, maybe a bit larger, he said, hey, I didn't even get an offer from the city. Commissioner Herbst hasn't even reached out to me. And we found out that after that meeting, that did in fact happen, and that an offer was in fact made, a valuation was performed by the city, and that the offer was made at the valued price. Why is this plat going forward without that piece being finalized? In my view, and I think I can speak for all of us here from Bal Harbor, is that should be done before this project proceeds, to allow a 10-story office building or a 7-Eleven would be absolutely devastating for the character of this neighborhood.
Let me ask you something. As I'm looking at this map, it says B1 is the green area, and RS8 is so we'll call it the bluish shaded area, right? And you say that the guardhouse is right at the white line. So it seems to me that the commercial area...
It's to the right of the white line? Left of it. Yeah, I'm not visually orientated.
Does the white line go through the guardhouse? It does not. It's to the east, right? The guardhouse is to the west.
IT, can you zoom in?
Okay.
Guardhouse would be to the west.
The guardhouse
Correct.
is to the west,
To the
so
west.
it includes some of the commercial area then. Okay. Well, I'm just trying to because this map is not clear.
Zoom in more.
Yeah, which I guess was the point of the representations at the prior planning and zoning meeting, that it was all contiguous within that area.
Look down. No, the other way.
You got to pull the other direction, Mayor.
Keep going.
There we go.
Back out a little.
That's it, right there. There you go. Guardhouse.
Well, the tree, you push it to the
It's
right.
under the canopy.
Scroll to the right. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
And zoom out just a little.
All right, right there. Show me the guardhouse.
Somebody want to, Janet, you want to come up and point to the guardhouse? It's right under the canopy.
Is that it?
There. I don't want there to be any confusion.
Is it right here?
Well, wait.
Yeah.
Right there.
Well, what does here mean?
And it
I can't
extends-
see you. I don't have eyes beyond that.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
Show me on this map over here.
Right here.
Wait. He's showing it to me.
Right there.
Okay, I just want him to show it to me. It's right there. Okay.
And that's right in front of that.
Okay. Now we have a clear idea. Thank you.
So, yeah. But
Well,
I
it's-
appreciate everyone.
The canopy is kind of hiding it.
Yeah, but this is very impactful for all of us, and to leave it to chance or just even good faith, to me is too much of a risk for our neighborhood.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you so
Are
much.
you? Excuse me. Are you? Do you represent the HOA?
I am representative of the HOA. We have a subcommittee that was formed for purposes of pursuing the green space, and I am a member of that subcommittee along with a few of the other speakers here.
And you're speaking on behalf of the HOA.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
And the last person signed up to speak, Mr. Edward, are you here? Good evening. So, how are
Evening,
you?
Mayor and Commission. My name is Cavett Edward. Longtime resident. My family's been here since 1911. My grandfather was the first federal judge, state senator, eye doctors. We've been here for quite some time. I'm here to more or less clear up some misinformation, I think would be the best way to describe it. I mean, at the end of the day, the guard tower is here.
Right.
There's a left end of the property here. At the end of the day, we're here seeking plat approval, basically bringing a non-complying property into compliance with the existing zoning. We're not requesting a zoning change or seeking approval of any building or anything to that nature. If you zoom back out, you'll notice the existing zoning is B1 and RS8, and we're only trying to plat per the existing and underlying zoning that's been set forth by the city.
So, a couple things. Now, the city has been looking to find more open space in its neighborhoods, and it's my understanding that the city has reached out to you to see if we could agree to accommodate the neighborhood with some measure of open space that would not put a burden of just 100% commercial use or residential use there, but create a little open space. Has that conversation ever taken place?
That conversation has taken place on the record at P&Z. I said that I had received an offer actually earlier that day of the P&Z hearing, and those conversations are still actually ongoing. I have no issue selling it to the city. In fact, I've been willing to sell it at what I would consider more than fair or less than I would make if I developed it, which is what I do.
Would you be able to sell it at the appraised value that we were able to secure through our appraiser?
The appraised value that the city presented to me was less than what I paid for it. So at this moment, we're...
so you overpaid for it?
I mean, that's relative. We've been buying property here in Fort Lauderdale for quite some time.
Mayor, could I jump in on that?
Go right
So
ahead.
Cabot, when you and I met, I had asked you, this is probably 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago now at this point, to come back with an appraisal so I could look at what your value was, and you had said you were going to do that. Where do we stand with that? Because I know my office has reached out to you probably 3 times to find out where that offer is. I was hoping that we could have that discussion before this came forward to the commission. So
I would have liked to as well, and I think we've been in constant communication back and forth with your office. No one's been
Amanda
trying.
reached out to you on my behalf. I don't know if you've been talking to anybody else, but Amanda.
No, but I'm saying we haven't been ignoring conversations back and forth is all I'm saying.
Okay.
And I was verbally given a number today. I was told I would have something by the end of the week, Thursday or Friday to give to you. Unfortunately, I don't have anything other than a verbal.
From your appraisal company?
Correct. He called me this afternoon because I thought I would have it today.
Okay.
Which is what I had mentioned to Amanda last week. I was hoping to have it early this week.
Okay. Yeah. No. I'm. Again, we had a great conversation. So just so everybody knows. So I met with Cabot. We had a great conversation. It was very frank, open. Good, warm discussion. And to the neighborhood's point, we'd really like this to be green space. Cabot is more than happy to do that in a way that doesn't harm him financially. And I think there's a middle ground there. I have money left over from Parks Bond for land acquisition that we can get this accomplished. So I think all the pieces are in line to.
Well, the only problem with that is that the city's not allowed to buy property above the fair market value. Do you want to help me out here, Dwayne or Tom? What is the rule? If we have fair market value, say $1 million, and Mr. Edward wants $2 million because that's what he paid for, can we pay $2 million?
Yes.
Dwayne, can you respond to that, please?
Yes, Mayor. Dwayne Spence, Deputy City Attorney. I would have to take a look into what our charter restrictions are with regards to that. I do not have the answer with regards to whether or not we can go above the fair market value.
Let me help you out. All the years I've been on this commission, I've been told that the charter requires us to pay no more than the appraised value plus 10%. Has that issue never been, you've never encountered that issue before?
I haven't, but I will confirm for you before the hearing's over.
Okay.
I believe we've done that, by the way, Mayor, with all of our CRA properties. I know that's generally been our guidelines with our CRA, right?
Yeah.
Well, and
what properties, John? I didn't hear what you said.
CRA.
The CRA.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So, but that brings up an interesting point because, as Cabot points out, he purchased the property for a certain price, and as we all know from appraisals are based on the most recent purchases, right? So it's possible that the appraisal that we have may not be reflective of current market value, and that's why I asked Mr. Edward to have an appraisal done so we could have another basis for comparison, because we may need for us to go out and get another appraisal, and we've done that on multiple occasions where we've had to go out and get additional appraisals where
We got two here. We got two appraisals here. Is that not, Greg, did we not get two appraisals here?
I thought we had one.
Allow me to confirm. I did send you one that was received, but let me confirm. I'm right now confirming that.
Okay, because I'd only seen one at this point, so if there's a second one, then I'm not.
Yeah, I
familiar
saw
with it.
two, and one was lower than the first.
So there needs to be a supermajority vote if
we go above the appraisal.
If you go above the appraisal value.
And that was my understanding, because I do believe, Mayor, that we have in fact purchased property for more than the appraised value before. In fact, I
Can we check to see if
I seem to recall having done that before. We've acquired certain properties where we feel that there's characteristics about that property that make it in the best interest of the city to acquire it. But to the city manager's point, I think it requires a supermajority to do that.
So what portion are we looking at then? I mean, there's a residential portion and there's a commercial portion. My concern is introducing a commercial component to a settled residential neighborhood that doesn't want a 7-Eleven, that doesn't want a multi-story building there. Already, the one lane to get out of this neighborhood is already going to be complicated with the new Publix that's going to be built there, because in order to exit the Publix and go south, you must go through 19th Street. You cannot go through any other exit. So all the people that want to go south, leaving Publix, have to spill out onto 19th Street. So if you combine that with the regular neighborhood traffic of 150 homes, and then you add a commercial component, which I still, to this moment, I don't know what that could be. If we want to put some kind of restriction on that, can it be medical offices? I mean, I don't know what kind of conversations have been entertained here, but we really have to protect the neighborhood. So, I'm not sure we have to decide on anything tonight. We may want to defer this until you have further discussions, and maybe we can discuss what portion of this site can be allocated for open space, what can be retained for commercial space, and what type of commercial activity could take place here. I have no problem with the residential. We have no problem with the residential portion, right? The townhouses are great. We're good with that.
No townhouses. Single family.
No, the townhouses have been eliminated.
Oh, they've been eliminated?
It's just 7 single-family homes.
7 single family. Sorry. Do you want townhouses? No, just kidding.
No. But please understand, okay? This isn't. We're not seeking a zoning change or site plan approval. This is being platted per what the city already has outlined. And also, in regards to that, when you speak of a plat restriction, we've already put one on there that there won't be a 10-story building and all that kind of stuff. It's been restricted to 10,000 square feet of office. So you're not talking. I realize, like, under normal, I believe it's B1 zoning, yes, you could do all those things, and that is presented as a worst-case scenario, but restrictions have already been put into place, and this is just for the plat. So in the event that anybody even ever wanted to build something there, that would still have to go back through DRC, planning and zoning, and come before the city commission all over again for its own specific site. So this is literally only just dividing the property and putting in compliance with underlying zoning that exists.
Cabot, can I ask you a question about that?
Yeah.
Because you when you went to P&Z, you specifically said that the building could go 150 feet in height, which would accommodate your 10,000 square feet. So.
No. First of all, think of 150.
I'm just reading the minutes of the meeting. That's all.
I hear you, but
Okay.
I didn't record my words.
Okay.
Someone else did. So
Okay.
at the end of the day, a 150-story building would be far more than 10,000 square feet. I think we could all agree on that. And even beyond that, with your setbacks, as anybody that's seen anything that's come before the city commission, you're not going to fit it on a 100-foot wide property.
The idea in explaining to everybody that they're there is that it is underlining zoning B1, which means you could put the Hustler store there. You could put a marijuana dispensary there. It's zone B1. You could put a car dealership there, like, not saying it's the best location for it, but the zoning allows it. So what we've done is restricted it to 10,000 square feet of office. No one's trying to put anything there, and we're not actually like presenting a project that's trying to be approved today. All we're doing is trying to bring the zoning in the property in compliance with what the city's set forth. No one's actually trying to get a building set forth here. Everyone's literally still in agreement to try to sell this and work something out with the city with this specific parcel. That has nothing to do with the plat. At the end of the day, the city then would buy it and seek a zoning change and make it a park, or at that point it would be commercial and I would seek approval to build a building or sell that parcel and someone else would. But we're just talking about, this one little boot piece, and if you zoom it back out, it's in line with the Publix, Whole Foods, and everybody else.
So my question is, when I look at the motion that was made at P&Z, it doesn't mention this 10,000-foot restriction in the motion.
It's on the plat itself. Elizabeth can tell you it's recorded. It's part of the thing.
It's a plat note.
Yeah.
It's used by the county.
It's used by the county to calculate impact fees. My staff is looking for this statute or charter section about the 100%.
So we've taken steps to
I would
restrict it.
Defer this. Give me time in my office to look into whether or not we could buy it for 110%.
Okay.
Or whatever the limits are.
Is it true, though, that what you said at planning and zone, that this would be 10,000 square feet office space would be about half the lot? Is that true, what I'm reading in the minutes?
It would be restricted, so you'd figure that you probably get about 25% land coverage, and then it would be 2 stories, which you have 2-story houses, you have the 40-foot tall Whole Foods, Publix. It's got the 20-foot tall wall that goes across here. I spoke with the neighborhood about continuing the wall on what would be this side, so the whole parcel would be walled in. The wall actually continues all the way across from the whole neighborhood behind where the future Publix will be, the old Panera Bread and all that stuff. It's been that way, my whole life. So it's the same wall that still exists. It literally follows the zoning line all the way down. And the gatehouse is right here. You can see the outline of the little square. And we have a left in right here. But none of that matters to the plat. That's all I'm trying to tell you.
Well, it does matter, because if we do vote on this plat, it might also change the value, and so when we go out to do another evaluation, we're going to find ourselves shooting ourselves in the foot by recognizing this as commercial space.
In reality, the appraisers argue it either way, as it's staying B1 because they could seek flex units and go crazy, and they say that it's worth less when I get the plat recorded because I'm restricting it to 10,000 feet. Either way, at the end of the day, the idea is to sell this to make it a park and come to a fair number. It will still have to be platted and brought into compliance in any event, and even if it's a park, it would have to be platted, and then zoning would have to be changed.
Right.
So this is still a necessary
if we're going to vote on a plat, I'd so much rather vote on a plat that already incorporates the open space as opposed to coming back again and trying to carve it out and where the winds are against us, because we've now trying to buy commercial area as opposed to an unplatted area.
It already is commercial area. You're going to have to change it either way. I'm not changing it to anything.
The underlying nature of it is, but not the plat. Once we have a plat established, I know how this works.
Yeah, you have to plat it and then change the zoning. So this would be platting it, and then the zoning would be changed from B1 to park.
I have questions for Dwayne when you guys are done, but I'll wait till you're done.
I'm done.
Dwayne?
So I actually have an answer for the mayor. It's a Florida statute that requires that the purchase of a property above $500,000 requires 2 appraisals, and if you're going to pay above the appraisal price, that you need an extraordinary vote of the body to do so.
Extraordinary?
4 out of 5?
Extraordinary.
What does extraordinary mean? Is that between consensus and unanimous?
We've had. Could you repeat
consensus?
The first part
We've
of
had
that?
unanimous.
We have
supermajority. What's extraordinary?
If you could just repeat the first part of it, there's a lot of talking up here.
Pardon me?
If you could just repeat that first part about the appraisals and what
Two
we
appraisals if the purchase price is above $500,000, and if you want to purchase above the appraised price, it would be an extraordinary vote. That's not defined in Florida statutes, but our past practice here was to use a supermajority, meaning 4 of the commission.
If it's over 500,000.
If it's over
We
500,
need
if it's over 500,000 and you're going above the appraised,
And I'm assuming this
value.
is over 500,000.
Our 2 appraisals already came in at 1.16 or 1.2.
Okay. Dwayne, while you're there, if I may, I've read the minutes of the Planning and Zoning Board. You were there, right?
I was.
Okay. So the vote was 8-1 to approve the plat for this case, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Some of the Planning and Zoning Board members seem to have questions, but they still voted yes. What were your instructions? I want to know how much of this is just ministerial. How much leeway do we have as a commission when we know what the underlying land use is? We know that it's Zone B1, this particular part. What kind of flexibility or leeway does the commission actually have on a plat?
So what I explained to the Planning and Zoning Board is that the platting process is actually just the subdividing of the property, that the property presently has the entitlements that are provided in our land use plan and the zoning on top of it. So the portions of the property that are residential, they already have those rights to develop in accordance with the zoning and the land use designation. The portions of the property that are land use designated commercial and have a zoning district of B1 have the right to develop those properties in accordance with the zoning and the land use designation. The issue with regards to platting is that Broward County uses platting in order to assess certain fees and requires in certain circumstances that properties be platted before they can be issued a building permit. And so in certain situations like this, situations where it has not been platted, they are required to plat their property before they can apply for a building permit. A part of that platting process is Broward County places on the plat a plat note restriction, which is what they would use to gauge the fees that the developer would have to pay, and it would restrict the platted parcel to those uses, which you've heard from the testimony would be 5 single-family residential, and then on track A is limited to 10,000 square feet of office based on the plat note restriction.
I think it's 7 home, not 5, but it's 7. Let me ask you this question. So then where does that number 10,000 come from? Why is that an arbitrary number of 10,000 square feet office space? Is it just an arbitrary number that we're using to have that restriction on the plat?
It is, but it isn't. So it's the developer and his team would evaluate how that site could be developed, and then the Broward County staff, I presume that he's already working with Broward County to determine the impact on that particular parcel. So that's limiting them to 10,000 square feet, which it would be the basis of the impact fees that he would be assessed on that parcel.
When's the last time this was platted?
It has not been platted to my...
Ever?
Correct.
Why?
Was it platted for the church?
I would not know. The platting requirement in Broward County requires that if it was not platted as of 1953, that it be replatted. I do not know, the history behind when this church was constructed and if it predates the platting rule in Broward County.
Well, what about the RS8 portion? Was that platted?
No, sir.
So that's never been platted.
Correct.
And why?
I do not know.
So I guess my question to you is, how much leeway do we have when it comes to a plat? In other words, I read every line of the Planning and Zoning Board minutes, and even though people seem to have questions, except for one person, they all voted in favor of the plat as presented on this case. Why is that?
Well, because the case law in the state of Florida usually treats platting process as ministerial, and that it's something that our agency, or at this level, you have to do. The way that our code is written, it provides for a determination to be made by the city commission, which we've interpreted as a quasi-judicial process. Based on that quasi-judicial process, it states that if you find that the plat meets the requirements of the subdivision section of the ULDR, that you must approve the plat. And so if there's no evidence presented at the hearing that indicates that they have not met the burden of meeting the subdivision regulations, there is no discretion for the commission with regards to denying it at that point.
So again, what you're saying, and that's important to understand that, when you're you're saying that if we find that pursuant to the ULDR, the Unified Land Development Regulations, if we find that the proposed plat meets the review criteria, meets comprehensive plan consistency, does the public notice, is approved by Planning and Zoning Board, if all of those things fall in line, are you saying that the commission is actually obligated to ministerially approve the plat?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
So why is this a quasi-judicial proceeding?
Because of the way that our code is written, it gives you the authority as fact finders to determine whether or not it meets the code. But if you determine that it does meet the code, then you must approve it. We've had a similar challenge with a Board of Adjustment quasi-judicial proceedings where they actually approved an item and the courts found that there was insufficient, there wasn't competent substantial evidence on the record to approve the item. So I'm not saying that, I'm saying that you can deny it if the record at this hearing suggests that they have not met the criteria in the code. And that's what is quasi-judicial. Your determination here is to see whether or not this plat meets the requirements of the code. And if there's nothing that was presented at the hearing that supports a denial, then we're in trouble with that. And I would frankly say there's some troubling testimony tonight with regards to the park, which kind of suggests the taking, which absent of additional testimony or information on the record to support a denial, that would be viewed as the reason for denial, as this whole conversation that was had with regards to.
I just don't think that the deal has really been cooked enough to be able to, make a decision tonight, because we have talked about not so much a taking, but an arm's length transaction to acquire a portion of this for the neighborhood. So I don't think that I don't think we're trying to condemn the property. I just think we're trying to come up with a solution that works for everybody, a win-win for the neighborhood, for Mr. Edward, and something that the commission can feel comfortable with going forward. I would like to see the plat proposed in such a way that includes the open space, so that we don't have to do this once, and we come up with a financial arrangement that's suitable to him as well as to our community. And that's my big concern tonight.
Mr. Mayor, but if I could, I wasn't finished. I'm sorry. I need to just, the things that I'm hearing from our deputy city attorney are troubling to me. It's where I'm struggling on this, because I hear what you're saying. However, I'm being told by the city attorney's office that I have to find evidence as to why this doesn't meet the criteria for this plat, that I have to find something that is in violation of our ULDR. I have to find something that shows me inconsistency with our comprehensive plan. Someone needs to show me that.
No, that's only if we're going to vote on it. If we're going to defer it, so that we have.
I understand. You can defer that. So of course you can.
If we're going to defer it,
but I don't know what that deferral will do, because when I read
I'm
this,
telling you what it'll do.
I understand, but when I read this, I'm seeing that the goal that we're trying to get to, and I totally understand what the neighborhood is saying, you can still get to that goal even with this plat. But I'm just saying, I need, as someone who's sitting on a city commission, I have to make sure that I'm doing the right thing in terms of what's required of us for a plat. And I'm hearing from the city attorney's office that this is ministerial. And I'm hearing that if I'm going to vote no on this plat, I have to have evidence as to why this is violating all of these things. And I haven't heard that yet. Would I love to see us be able to come to an agreement? Yes, I would love to see. The neighborhood wants open space. Neighborhood wants us, I guess the District 1 Commissioner can spend his allocation on Parks Bond acquisition funds for the land. That's great. I would love that. But I just want to know how we get there. I want to know how we do that without violating what we need to do here in terms of a plat.
And I just told you.
Okay.
Well, Mr. Mayor, can I have a
You
question?
said deferral. Deferral is your answer.
Okay, so my question to you is, I guess this resolution was introduced procedurally. If we do decide, do you need a motion to defer, or how do we go?
Motion to defer. I recommend that you defer it because you have a willing seller, you have a willing buyer, we have a mechanism to do it. We've now found the statute that allows us to do it. Give us an opportunity, bring it back in 2 weeks. There's no point in platting it when we might have to replat it. What would be the point of that?
Okay, can I put forward a motion to defer at this point?
John, you okay with it?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Well, before we do that, let's close public hearing. Do I hear a motion to close public hearing?
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes. So, Commissioner Sturman, you have a motion?
Motion to defer.
And it's been seconded by Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Okay, let's call the roll.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and the item's been deferred for 2 weeks?
Made a date certain?
2 weeks. For the next meeting.
Okay.
That'd be fine, yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
PH1, public hearing resolution approving the transfer of city-owned property located at 800 Northwest 22nd Road in the Northwest Progresso Flagler Heights Community Redevelopment Area to the Fort Lauderdale Community Redevelopment Agency. Would someone like to introduce the resolution?
Introduce.
Mayor, we have to close the public hearing.
I'm sorry?
It's a public hearing. We have to close the public hearing.
Right, but does someone like to introduce the resolution?
Oh, okay.
It's been introduced.
Okay.
And, but do we need disclosures? No. No one has signed up to speak, but we do need to, I hear a motion to close public hearing.
So moved.
So moved.
Been moved and seconded.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and public hearing is now closed on PH1. The resolution has been introduced. No one has signed up to speak. Please call the roll.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, approving the transfer of one city-owned property located at 800 Northwest 22nd Road in the Northwest Progressive Flagler Heights Community Redevelopment Area to the City of Fort Lauderdale Community Redevelopment Agency for public purposes pursuant to Section 8.02 of the City Charter, subject to terms and conditions authorizing the proper city officials to execute the conveyance instruments and providing for an effective date. Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and PH1 has now been approved. PH2, what?
Just have something
Oh,
for
okay.
PH2.
You scared me.
I want to say hi.
PH2, public hearing, an ordinance amending the city's comprehensive plan future land use map, establishing the Uptown Urban Village Transit-Oriented Development designation. Say that 5 times. So no one has signed up to speak. Anyone wish to speak on this item? There being none, would someone move to close public hearing?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and public hearing on PH 2 is now closed. Someone like to introduce the ordinance? Been introduced. Do you have any comments on this?
I do. Thank you.
Please.
Chris Cooper, Director, Development Services Department. So we received some comments from the Broward County Planning Council that resulted in a slight modification to some of the boundary lines in Exhibit A, which is attached to Exhibit 5. They're minor. It more or less moves some boundary lines to the center line of roads versus the side of the road. So they will be transmitted as such to the county and other reviewing agencies and be brought back before you when this comes back for second reading after reviewing. So I just wanted to make sure that was on the record.
Are we supposed to figure that out with this map?
What's the exhibit?
They're minor. So along two roads, we showed the boundary. I think on the western edge of the road, they should have been at the center line, and then there's a canal at the north end where we needed to adjust that line just inside the canal.
Okay,
so they're very minor technical corrections, but I just needed to put that on the record.
Okay. Would someone like to introduce the ordinance as amended?
Introduced as amended.
Okay, we are on PH 2. Okay. We've closed public hearing, correct?
Yes.
Okay. With that said, please call the roll.
In ordinance of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, adopting an amendment to the City of Fort Lauderdale Comprehensive Plan Future Land Use Map designations from Employment Center, Industrial, Commercial, and Office to Uptown Urban Village Transit-Oriented Development for the land area generally bound by Interstate 95 on the east, McNabb Road, and C14 Canal to the north, Power Line on the west, and Northwest 57th Street on the south, commonly referred to as Uptown, all said lands being in the City of Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida, and authorizing the proper city officials to transmit the proposed amendments, supporting data and analyses to reviewing agencies, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, and providing for effective date. Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and PH 2 is now approved. PH 3, public hearing, quasi-judicial ordinance, approving a rezoning from single-family, low-medium density district to parks, recreation, and open space district. This is south of Ponce de Leon Drive. It's a little section, if you saw on the map. Anyone wishing to speak must be sworn in. Commission will announce any site visits, communications, or expert opinions received and make them a part of the record. Commissioner Herbst, do you have any disclosures? No. Vice Mayor?
No disclosures.
I have none. Commissioner Glassman?
None.
Commissioner Sturman?
None. And if I can, I'd love to introduce this resolution to my district.
All right, we're not there yet. Hold on.
When you get there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Would someone, no one signed up to speak. Would someone like to move to close public hearing?
So, second.
Been moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Commissioner Herbst? Yes. Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and public hearing on PH 3 is now closed. Someone like to introduce the ordinance?
Introduced.
Introduced by Commissioner Sturman.
Before you start, just one quick comment. This is Hector Park, correct? Okay. Just a little history. This was going right through Ponce de Leon Drive, right in the middle of Rio Vista neighborhood. And about a decade ago,
Who's Hector?
Actually, I don't. We got to look that up. I'll report back to you. That'll be my homework assignment.
Camacho.
And this
Hector.
was,
Yeah.
it was 2 lanes on Ponce, and we ended up ripping up asphalt and I think more than doubling the size of this park. And this is a long time coming, designated as a park. So I'm proud of what we're going to be doing today. And with that, I move the resolution.
Very good. The resolution has been introduced. No one signed up to speak. Please call the roll.
In ordinance amending section 47-1.6.b of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida Unified Land Development Regulations through the revision of the official zoning map of the City of Fort Lauderdale and Schedule A revised compilation attached thereto and by reference made a part thereof so as to rezone from RS8 residential single-family low-medium density district to Parks, Recreation, Open Space District, Olive Parcel Park lying north of Block 7, west of Block 11, and south of Block 23, Rio Vista Isles, according to the plat thereof as recorded in Plat Book 7, page 47 of the Public Records of Broward County, Florida, located north of Southeast 11th Street, east of Southeast 9th Avenue, west of Southeast 12th Way, and south of Ponce de Leon Drive, all said lands being in the City of Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. Commissioner Sturman?
Before I vote, is Carl here by any chance, or Parks? Okay, before next week, I'd like to find out your answer, who Hector is, and we will report back to you by next meeting. And with that, my vote is absolutely yes.
Commissioner Herbst? Yes. Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and PH3 is now approved. Moving on to PH4, public hearing, quasi-judicial ordinance approving a rezoning from residential multifamily low-rise, medium-high density district to Parks Recreation Open Space District. This is south of Southeast 4th Street, east of Southwest 11th Avenue, north of Waverly Road, and west of Southwest 10th Avenue. City of Fort Lauderdale, this is District 2.
Yes, it's Major William Lauderdale Park. That was Hector's brother.
Anyone wishing to speak must be sworn in. Commission will announce any site visits, communications, or expert opinions received and make them a part of the record. Commissioner Herbst, do you have any disclosures? Vice Mayor?
None.
I have none. Commissioner Glassman? Do you have a site visit?
I do have a site. Yeah, I know the area well.
Did you
yes.
picnic there often?
I did a site visit, actually.
Okay. And Commissioner Sturman?
None.
None. Okay, no one has signed up to speak. Do I hear a motion to close public hearing? So moved. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second. Okay. So it's been moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Commissioner Herbst? Yes. Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, public hearing on PH4 is now closed. Would someone like to introduce the ordinance?
Introduced.
It's been introduced. Don't trip over each other.
District 2. Well, he needed to do his District 4, so I guess I should do the District 2 one.
Okay.
Oh, no, I like you do District
Please
4.
call the roll.
In ordinance amending section 47-1.6.b of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida Unified Land Development.
Wait. Is this PH5?
4.
Oh, no, excuse me. No, let Steve introduce it. I apologize.
I already did. Thank you.
Okay, good. I withdraw my introduction.
We didn't accept it to begin with.
I'll be fine.
Boys, please.
I'm honored to
You're
have
interrupting the process. Please, Mr. Clerk, continue.
I don't know where I left off. An ordinance amending section 47-1.6.b of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida Unified Land Development Regulations, the revision of the official zoning map of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Schedule A, revised compilation attached thereto and by reference made a part thereof, so to rezone from RML 25 residential low-rise multifamily medium high density district to Parks Recreation Open Space District, all of that unnumbered lot block lying south of Block 107 and north of Block 101, Waverly Place, according to the plat thereof, as recorded in Plat Book 2, page 19 of the Public Records of Broward County, Florida, located north of the North Fork New River, east of Southwest 12th Avenue, west of Southwest 10th Avenue, and south of West Los Olas Boulevard, all said lands being in the City of Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida. Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and PH4 is now approved. PH5, public hearing, quasi-judicial ordinance approving a rezoning from residential single-family low-medium district density district to Parks Recreation Open Space District, south of Southeast 10th Street, east of Southeast 9th Avenue, and north of Rio Vista Boulevard. Anyone wishing to speak must be sworn in, and the commission will announce any site visits, communications, or expert opinions received and make them a part of the record. Commissioner Herbst, any disclosures? No. Vice Mayor?
None.
I have none. Commissioner Glassman?
None.
And Commissioner Sturman?
Many picnics and and parties and holiday parties.
Isn't that where you throw your Frisbee?
And Frisbee.
Okay. No one signed up to speak, and so someone moved to close public hearing.
So moved.
Been moved
Second.
and seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Commissioner Herbst? Yes. Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, and public hearing on PH5 is now closed. Someone like to introduce the ordinance?
So introduced.
It's been introduced. Please call the roll.
An ordinance amending section 47-1.6.b of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida Unified Land Development Regulations through the revision of the official zoning map of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Schedule A, revised compilation attached thereto and by reference made a part thereof, so as to rezone from RS8 residential single-family low-medium density district to Parks Recreation Open Space District, all of Parcel Park lying north of Block 28 and south of Block 27, Rio Vista Isles, according to the plat thereof as recorded in Plat Book 7, page 47 of the Public Records of Broward County, Florida, located north of South Rio Vista Boulevard, east of Southeast 9th Avenue, west of Cordova Road, and south of Southeast 9th Street, all said lands being in the City of Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida. Commissioner Sturman?
Now, before I vote on this one, this is VSY, Virginia Schumann Young. And Mr. Mayor, I do know who this is, was the old mayor of the city of Fort Lauderdale. And I think it was her son that just recently passed away. But this is ex-mayor of the city of Fort Lauderdale, VSY. And my answer is absolutely yes.
Commissioner Herbst? Yes. Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes. So PH 5 is now approved. Moving on to PH 6, public hearing, quasi-judicial ordinance approving a rezoning from heavy commercial light industrial district to parks, recreation, open space, 2600 to 2450 South Federal Highway. That's the Huizinga entry thing.
That's the gateway into our city from the airport coming on in.
They call it Welcome Park. Welcome Park.
Where the roller skating rink used to be right over there.
Let me ask you a question. Why are we doing that there? Why do we need to call that a park? Anyway.
Why not?
Well, it has ramifications. Well, anyway, we'll see what happens. Anyone wishing to speak must be sworn in. The commission will announce any site visits, communications, or expert opinions received and make them a part of the record. Commissioner Herbst, do you have any disclosures? No. Vice Mayor?
None.
I have none. Commissioner Glassman?
None.
And Commissioner Herbst? Yes. I mean, Commissioner Sturman. Sorry. I'm just testing you, see if you remember.
None. None.
Okay. So no one has signed up to speak. Someone please close public hearing.
Motion to close.
It's been moved to
Second.
close public hearing. It is a second. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Commissioner Herbst? Yes. Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes, public hearing on PH 6 is now closed. Someone like to introduce the ordinance?
Introduced.
The ordinance has been introduced.
In ordinance amending section 47-1.6.b of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida Unified Land Development Regulations through the revision of the official zoning map of the City of Fort Lauderdale and Schedule A revised compilation attached thereto and by reference made a part thereof, so as to rezone from B3 Heavy Commercial Light Industrial District to Parks, Recreation, Open Space District, all of Block I, a re-subdivision of Block J, Lakeview, according to the plat thereof as recorded in Plat Book 18, page 20 of the Public Records of Broward County, Florida, together with lots 14A, 14B, 16A, 16B, Harborview, according to the plat thereof as recorded in Plat Book 10, page 5 of the Public Records of Broward County, Florida, lying east of the east right-of-way line of Federal Highway and Less Road right-of-way, also together with Lot 2, south half, and all of lots 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12, Lakeview, according to the plat thereof as recorded in Plat Book 1, page 68 of the Public Records of Dade County, Florida, Less Road right-of-way, also together with that portion of Southeast 25th Street right-of-way bounded on the west by the east right-of-way line of Federal Highway and bounded on the east by the west right-of-way line of Miami Road, located north of Southeast 28th Street, east of South Federal Highway, west of Miami Road, and south of Spangler Boulevard, all said lands being the City of Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida. Commissioner Sturman?
Well, that was a lot for such a small piece of property.
That little slip of land.
Yes, the answer is yes.
Commissioner Herbst? Yes. Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Wait, where is this?
You know,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, yes.
You know where the
I can read
roller
it again.
derby is?
I know where it is. I'm sorry. I couldn't resist. Yes, my vote is yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
don't get funny. Yes. Okay. PH 6 is now approved. PH 7, public hearing, quasi-judicial ordinance approving a rezoning from residential single-family duplex medium-density district to residential mid-rise multifamily medium-high density district and general business to community business district. This is at 1714 West State Road 84, Barbill Ventures Corporation. Anyone wishing to speak must be sworn in, and the commission will announce any site visits, communications, or expert opinions received and make them a part of the record. We have one person who signed up to speak, Mr. Porter, but that's just for questions, correct? Where are you, Mr. Porter? There you are. Just for questions, right? Okay. So other than that, no one has signed up to speak. So someone like to move to close public hearing?
So move.
It's been moved. Do I hear a second? Second. Moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Do we need disclosures?
I'm sorry. Do we not do disclosures?
You started and then you didn't go.
I'm sorry. Commissioner Herbst, you did disclosures? None. Vice Mayor?
None.
I had none. Commissioner Glassman? And Commissioner
Well, I did speak to the president of the neighborhood, but aside from that, none.
Okay. All right. So, with that in mind, does someone please move to close public hearing?
We got it.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Commissioner Herbst? Yes. Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes. And public hearing on page 7 is now closed. Would someone like to introduce the ordinance? Introduced. It's been introduced. Please call the roll.
An ordinance amending section 47-1.6B of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida Unified Land Development Regulations through the revision of the official zoning map of the City of Fort Lauderdale and Schedule A revised compilation attached thereto and by reference made a part thereof so as to rezone from General Business District to Community Business District, rezone from Residential Multifamily Mid-Rise Medium High Density District to CB District, and rezone from Residential Single Family Duplex Medium Density District to CB District, portions of Parcel A, Matt Court Plat, according to the plat thereof as recorded in Plat Book 128, page 2 of the Public Records of Broward County, Florida, located west of Southwest 15th Avenue, north of Southwest 30th Street, east of Southwest 18th Terrace, and south of West State Road 84, all said lands being in the City of Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Commissioner Herbst? Yes. Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes. And PH 7 is now approved. Congratulations.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Someone did just text me the information on Mr. Hector, in case you want to know.
Oh, really?
Would you like to know? It's not long.
And what is it?
Okay, here we go.
I knew that.
C.J. Hector, born in 1887, C.J. Hector was a homesteader in Iowa who decided to purchase land in Florida to develop homes following the land boom in the 20s, providing land and residence to eager travelers who were wanting to move to Fort Lauderdale. A prominent strip of land now known as Rio Vista, which directly translates into Riverview, was purchased by C.J. Hector in 1923 with the idea of building homes for those travelers. Now there are nearly 1,000 homes in Rio Vista with unique styles and various affluent residents. The source is the Rio Vista neighborhood, Fort Lauderdale. RWE Real Estate was written in 2017, and the source, C.J. Hector, in the 1940 Census Ancestry. There you go.
Okay.
So here's a question. Do you think we'll ever again name a park after a developer in Fort Lauderdale?
Well, if you think about it, like where I live in Poinsettia Heights, they named Lake Melva after his wife, the developer's wife.
I get that. He still owned the lake at the time, though.
Yeah, exactly. Mary Brickle, she owned all this land.
Yeah.
Hector probably bought it from Mary Brickle. Interesting.
Yep.
That's what we used to like developers.
I used to have a title company in Boca, and as you get off the exit at Glades Road, you come to this first traffic light is Butts Road, okay? And a young lady used to work for me. Her last name was Butts, and her family owned the bean farm that used to cover all that section of Boca. Imagine Boca as a bean farm. But
What was her name? What was her name?
Butts.
So, Butts Beans?
Butts Beans. Butts. It was Butts Beans. So anyway, we'll have to name a neighborhood after Glenn Wright.
That's what I'm waiting for, exactly.
Good luck. Okay, OFR 1. This is the first reading of an ordinance amending Section 28-56, Maintenance by Property Owner, amending Section 28-58, making connections to sewers, and amending Section 28-59, connections to existing building sewers. Sexy. Okay, we have no one to sign up to speak. Someone like to introduce the ordinance?
Introduced.
Thank you. Please call the roll.
In ordinance of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, amending Chapter 28, Water, Wastewater, and Stormwater, Sections 28-56, 28-58, and 28-59 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, providing for consistency with the Florida Building Code and Public Works Engineering Standards to clarify language for permit applications, remove conflicting information, repealing conflicting ordinance provisions, and providing for an effective date. Commissioner Sturman?
Do we need disclosures? Just
No.
quick. Okay. Yes.
Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
Yes. and the ordinance is approved on first reading. Did you have disclosures?
No, I was given the disclosure, but I guess we don't need it. That's fine.
On this?
Maybe.
On the sewer thing? No. No.
You never know who wants to be.
You never know who you're going to meet in real business.
Maybe not. Okay.
Okay, OSR 1, second reading, quasi-judicial ordinance, approving a rezoning from County Hotel R6 District and County One-Family District to Planned Development District with an associated site plan for 298 hotel rooms, 340 multifamily residential units, and 4,717 square feet of commercial use. This is a second reading, remember, we've already taken this up. Anyone wishing to speak must be sworn in, and Commission will announce any site visits, communications, or expert opinions received and make them a part of the record. Commissioner Herbst, do you have any additional disclosures?
No additional disclosures. Previously met with Nectaria and with Robert Lockery.
Vice Mayor?
No additional.
I have no additional. Commissioner Glassman?
No additional.
And Commissioner Sturm?
This is the one, Nectaria. It was this one.
Do you have any additional disclosures?
No additional, just the same one.
Nectaria, you've signed up to speak, but just for questions, right? Okay. Anyone have any questions on this? There being none, someone like to move to close public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Mayor Chantelis?
Yes, and public hearing is now closed. Someone like to introduce the ordinance on second reading? It's been introduced.
In ordinance amending section 47-1.6.b of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida Unified Land Development Regulations through revision of the official zoning map of the City of Fort Lauderdale, and Schedule A revised compilation attached thereto and by reference made a part thereof, so as to rezone from County Hotel, County R6 District, and County One Family District to Planned Development District, all of Tract 1, shall at I-95, according to the plat thereof, as recorded in Plat Book 102, page 25 of the Public Records of Broward County, Florida, together with a portion of vacated canal adjacent to said Tract 1, recorded in Official Records Book 12368, page 909 of the Public Records of Broward County, Florida, located north of East Cypress Creek Road, east of I-95, west of Dixie Highway, and south of Cypress Creek Canal, all said lands being in the City of Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida. Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Mayor Chantelis?
Yes, and the ordinance is now approved on second reading. Congratulations. OSR 2 is our last item on the agenda. Second reading, ordinance amending the City of Fort Lauderdale Chapter 8, Public Beaches, Section 8-55.4, titled Sales, Service, and Consumption of Food and Alcoholic Beverages.
Introduced.
Ordinance has been introduced. Anyone have any questions?
Mayor, I just wanted to make sure that we're looking at the revised version that we recently received, just so that everyone's on the same page and that it's the revised version that gets submitted for approval.
Is that the one that's been attached? Is that
Actually, it's
Exhibit
attached, but then there was one after that, actually, because we just cleaned up a language on page 5 of 9, Exhibit 1, letter K. I just want to make sure that that's the one that
Breakers
goes
Avenue
into the record.
Hotel with a participating Upland Hotel immediately to the
No,
east?
it's been changed. That's been changed, that language.
Is that taken out?
No, but it should read now. You should have gotten a revision.
Oh, here it is.
Yes. It's
No,
letter
that's
K,
not it. This
page
is
5
it.
of 9, Exhibit 1.
And I could read that section.
Eligible to apply for a license to serve, sell, and deliver food and alcohol beverages on the city's public beach. So a Breakers Avenue hotel located immediately west of a participating Upland hotel. So in other words, a hotel that is closer to the beach? Is that what you're saying?
Well, basically, if you have a hotel on Breakers Avenue and
Which
there's
is on
already...
the east side.
Well, it doesn't matter, east or west.
Okay.
In other words, what it's saying is if there's a participating hotel east of Breakers, just do east of Breakers there, you're not eligible because that hotel east of Breakers will have that right to serve on the
be on the
sand.
beach. Okay.
Correct.
So if somebody, if somebody east or even west, it doesn't matter which side of Breakers.
Correct.
As long as there's somebody in front of you.
East
of
you.
You cannot serve on the beach. Okay.
Correct. And we talked about this last time, but it'll also be on a year-by-year basis, right? This will not be in perpetuity.
In other words, if one to the east of you comes up and wants it, the one to the west doesn't necessarily
It just
get it the next year.
clarifies what the original one said.
Yeah, the language was a little fuzzy.
It's a little- okay, I
so
get it.
it's better now. So thank you, Chris, for cleaning that up.
Okay, any other comments or modifications? Okay, there being none,
The City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, amending Chapter 8, Article 3 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, titled Public Beaches by amending Section 8-55.4, titled Sales, Service, and Consumption of Food and Alcoholic Beverages to allow owners and operators of upland hotels or hotels located on Breakers Avenue within the city's boundaries to sell, serve, and deliver food on and alcoholic beverages on the public beach for consumption by any person using a beach chair from a city-approved beach concessionaire, and providing for definitions, providing for regulations and penalties, providing for severability, providing for conflicts and repeal, providing for correction of scrivener's errors, and providing for an effective date. Commissioner Sturman?
Yes.
Commissioner Herbst?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beasley Pittman?
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis?
yes. And OSR 2 is now approved on second reading. Mr. City Manager, is there any further business of the commission? Mr. City Attorney, you have any announcements to make?
No, sir.
We have none. Anything further from the commission? This meeting is now closed. Thank you so much.
7:58, awesome.